Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
For those of you who don't know me, and I need you to just stick with me for a second here. Born and raised in Texas, and then went to grad school in Kansas City, okay? So barbecue is a major part of my life. It really, really is. There's two different ways to do this. It's going to make sense for football. Just hold on. In Texas, like, sauce is a no-no. Like, you don't do that. Yeah, there's some places you could do that, but, like, it's the quality of the meat, the way it's cooked, the dry rub, all that stuff. That's what it is. You go to Kansas City, it's the exact opposite. Man, they put sauce on everything. It's sauce upon sauce upon sauce. And people are always, like, asking me, like, oh, what's better? What's better? The answer is both. I don't think one is wrong. There's just two different ways to do things. And this is the exact same approach that the 49ers have brought to their edge position. There's the all beef, get Mikael Williams, run stuff. We're going to prioritize stopping the run and just, solid, just meat and muscle. Gigantic, huge players. It's awesome. And Mikael Williams is going to be able to do that. But then there's the Kansas City side where it's like, man, let's get that extra little flavor, the sauce, all that kind of stuff. That's Bryce Huff. And that's what he brings to the pass rush. And the answer is, do you love Texas barbecue or Kansas City barbecue? The answer is hell yes to both of them. You need the opposite to appreciate what each one of them brings. Bryce Huff is the exact same thing to Mikael Williams. And he's going to be that little extra flavor, that over the top, the whatever that comes from the sauce. That's what Bryce Huff brings to the 49ers pass rush. And is he going to get the snap count that, so many other edge players are going to be and all that stuff? No, he's not. He is going to be a guy that's going to play 20 to 26 snaps a game, and that's probably it. He has a predetermined role, and that is to come in on pass rush downs only off of the edge and then back to the sideline. Might only come out for one play at a time. That's not a negative whenever you can set the defense over the top. And the 49ers haven't had that sauce all the way since D Ford, and that was a very minimal time that we had him before the injuries all kicked in. So let's learn about the player the 49ers traded for post-draft, post-free agency, that I do think sets this defense over the top. He's going to wear jersey number 47 and has an incredible career. Undrafted free agent that he had one elite year. Now he's had 4 okay years, but one elite year, and you're hoping he can return to that elite status. 6'3", 255, some of the shortest arms of any defensive end in the NFL. 31-inch arms. Tiny, 27 years old. Still in his prime. Now, we don't have workout data for him because, one, he wasn't invited to the combine, and two, his pro day was shut down during COVID. We don't know his 40. I don't think it's good. We don't know his 10-yard. Probably pretty good. 3 cones probably his best attribute, but we don't have any of that concrete information. You got to go off of tape, and tape. Nothing wrong with that for me. The tape is awesome. It really, really is. It is consistently good at what he does. And a lot of people are going to call Bryce Huff a speed rusher. Not that I completely disagree, but I don't think that is what he does. Speed, I don't think he's fast at all. I think his burst is good, but I think his bend and his hand usage is what sets him apart. Yeah, he gets off the ball quick. But I'm telling you, that 40, probably not that great. Good news is he doesn't have to run 40. It's his hand usage and his bend, his hip-ankle flexibility throughout contact with offensive tackles. That's what separates him. Like, him and D Ford, like, they're going to play similar roles, completely different traits. Bryce Huff, going into his 6th season, was at St. Paul's Episcopal High School down outside of Mobile, Alabama. He was born and raised in Opelika, Alabama. Chose to go to Memphis. Was committed to South Alabama, flipped to Memphis, and I think that was a wonderful decision. Funny thing is, he's teammates with newly acquired Jalen Allen, the 49ers, who they brought from, the UFL. They were both edge rushers there at Memphis, which is really, really cool. They overlapped a little bit. He was a two-time second-team All-ACC in 2018-2019 at Memphis. Played in 51 games in college, 18 sacks, 40 tackle for losses, 136 tackles, 3 pass breakups, 4 forced fumbles. Now, he was an undrafted free agent for the New York Jets in 2020. Before Robert Saleh got there, that was under Adam Gase. and made the initial 53-man roster as a UDFA is crazy talk. And, was a situational pass rusher and special teamer. Got 2 sacks, But his role started to increase his sophomore year, 2021 with the Jets. That's when Robert Saleh got there. He started 7 games. Had 2 sacks, was, one of those guys. He was a top 3 pass rusher on the team, top 3 edge on the team. But then he had a back injury and went on IR and missed the last 8 games. That was his most significant injury. And we're talking D Ford. You hear back injuries, yeah, you get a little on edge, rightfully so. But this injury was something that took place 3+ seasons ago and hasn't reared its ugly head since. So that's a little bit more common. He's 27, so you're all right with that. And last year didn't play a lot. We'll get to there. So he's coming off a pretty rested season. But he had 2 sacks early on. He was probably on about a 6 to 7 sack pace in 2021. Comes back 2022, 3.5 sacks, and was kind of a speed rush only. Not a bad year, not a great year. But 2023, just monster breakout season, and that was with Robert Saleh. He goes out there and led the league in pressure rate. He had 10 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, and 45 hurries. I mean, just an elite, legit pressure machine off the edge. And again, speed is part of it, but it's burst, bend, hand usage. That's what sets him apart. Now, Nick Bosa was asked about him. This is what Nick Bosa said, quote, and I could do my best Eeyore impersonation, be terrible, but quote, he's going to be our pass rusher on the other side. So I think that's a pretty big deal. He was one of the guys that I like to really watch when he was with the Jets. He's really elite at certain things, so we're going to use him that way, end quote. Again, what does Bosa do? Hand usage is what sets him apart. Film study is what sets him apart. And then he's just kind of good at everything else. But it makes sense with Bosa saying, yeah, I used to watch him because the bend and the hand usage, that's the thing. Now, Bosa's not the best with bend, but the hands, these are 2 of the best hand fighters you got. You bring in Mikael Williams. He uses his arms as well as anybody. Like, I just love what that brings. So, monster season, 10+ sacks, contract year, all that stuff. The Eagles signed him in 2024 for a 3-year, $51 million deal. They paid top-tier money. It did not go well. Vic Fangio couldn't stand him, was not a scheme fit. They wanted him to stand up and not put his hand in the dirt. He hated that. They wanted him to drop into coverage. My Eagles guy that I talk to all the time said the very first day of training camp during install, Vic said, this guy ain't going to work for us. He can't drop. And so they wanted him to stand up, drop in coverage, anchor the edge, all those different things, and not put his hand down. It just wasn't a fit. Wasn't a fit at all. And, he won the Super Bowl with them, but he was a healthy scratch in the Super Bowl. They put Brandon Graham off of IR on him. Just was not a fit at all by any stretch. Now, he still played. He still played. So, you look at it, he had started 6 games, played in 12 games with them, 13 tackles, 3 tackle for losses, 4 quarterback hits, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. But he had a wrist injury that required surgery, missed 5 weeks, and then just never got back in the good graces. They just kind of moved on without him. Now, the Eagles then were kind of stuck because they owed him a lot of money. So they kept him out of training camp and dangled him out there as trade bait, and the 49ers took the bait. The 49ers didn't give up much at all. 2026 pick, it's a conditional pick, could be a 4th or a 5th rounder, and the Eagles cover almost all of his salary. They took the bite there. So the Eagles are paying him a little over $9 million of his money this year, and the Eagles also have a $16.6 million dead cap next year with them. So the Eagles are paying him this year, and the Eagles are paying him $16 million next year for the 49ers to take him off their hands. 49ers take on $7.9 million, much less than the Eagles are. And the best news, the 49ers now have Bryce Huff locked up for 2 years. Now, let's just say, this negative Nancy here, it doesn't work out. Bryce Huff doesn't pan out this year. 49ers can move on after this season with 0 dead cap. You're not on the hook for anything. So, there is such limited liability for the 49ers in this Bryce Huff trade. Now, if Bryce Huff does ball out and they do want to keep him, then you can keep him for $5.3 million next year. Again, bargain. So you can walk away for nothing after this year, or you can keep him for cheap next year. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. And again, all that it cost was a conditional 4th or 5th round pick. I'm not sure the stipulations on that. I looked it up, couldn't figure it out. Sorry about that. Now, let's get back to the positives. Bryce Huff reunites with Robert Saleh in the same scheme that he's had his best 3 seasons in. And the idea is he's going to be that next D Ford mold opposite of Bosa, which, man, should help all of them. And the way that he plays is huge. Here's Bryce Huff, quote, "Rushing with my hand down is definitely what I'm supposed to be doing. It's a lot more physical style of ball. They want me to be an athlete and make plays," end quote. Love that, man. And this should be something exciting with him joining the D-line room. Josh, the executive producer of today's show, helped write it. Big fan of this trade. He loves it. Now, my film write-up, based off of NFL film, mostly with the Jets. And again, if you want to go watch tape, we got a couple Bryce Huff games up on our Patreon channel on the 49ersrush.com. They're up. Go watch them. And you can see the exact way in Robert Saleh's defense, the way he's going to be used. He's not a true speed guy off the edge, but great productivity. Bend, burst, and hands are his best trait. He's so good with his hands. Not great versus the run at all with the Jets. Never had more than 130 run snaps in a season. I don't think that's going to change. Not a coverage guy at all. I don't think that's going to change. What does he do? Dip and rip. Dip and rip, baby, off the edge. He's so good at it. Seems to always have a plan. Quicker than fast with good burst. Bend is really good. Energy and hustle shows. It's just a spark that he brings. Now, if you look at his career, dude's had a career. 20 tackle for losses, 47 quarterback hits, 20 sacks, only 13 starts. He is a situational pass rusher in the NFL. He is the 6th man, right, in NBA terms. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, career money-wise, he's made $23.6 million. And if I had to set the over-under at sacks, I'd probably say 5.5 because he has a clearly defined role where he's going to come in at that number 3. 49ers going to do NASCAR package, so it's not going to take snaps away from Mikael Williams or Nick Bosa. You just have more substantial pass rushers. You brought in all these guys to stop the run. Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Nick Martin, Marquise Eagle, Upton Stout. Just run stop, run stop, run stop, run stop. And now you've brought in this guy, the sauce, to the wonderful Kansas City barbecue analogy. That's going to be so badass. I am so pumped about this deal because it doesn't cost the Niners. They got it on pennies. And it fits the scheme, the coaches, all that stuff. Man, you give me 5.5 sacks, I'm a happy man for what you're paying. The NFL average is close to $2 million per sack, salary-wise. And the fact that he's not costing really anything, just over $7 million, you're paying for 5.5 sacks. You're paying for 4.5 sacks. But 5.5 is what I would set the over-under at. Hopefully it's more than that. You're going to get those opportunities in this defense. But I'm freaking pumped about this trade. By far one of my favorite free agent, off-season moves, draft picks, whatever you want to call it. This move was genius. I really do think it is because the cost is so stinking low. So low. Bryce Huff, go get it. Let's have your best year yet, or even your second best year. I'd take either one. I'm excited to have them. Thank you, Josh. And for us in the 49ers Rush team, we're just going to keep counting them down.